Welcome to Lead Digest, a humble effort to showcase responsible leaderships that have not only built organizations, but have also been responsible to the society and the environment around them. My guest today is Dr. Sylviane Toporkoff, founder and president of Global Forum Shaping the Future, which is an international think tank and associated events dedicated to the successful evolution of the digital society. Starting with an event in Washington, D.C. in the year 1992, there have been 28 truly international annual Global Forum gatherings, till the last one in France in 2019, without any break. Now, COVID-19 is actually testing Sylviane's patience in 2020. She's not able to really decide when to have the next Global Forum. On that note, Dr. Sylviane, welcome to Talk Direct in Lead Digest. First, tell me, from where did you derive this perseverance to run the Global Forum for the last 28 years in about 20 different cities and probably in about 17 or 18 countries, every time bringing top-notch professionals and intellectuals from all over the world? I mean,
first of all, when I began, I had no idea it would last so long.
Nice.
And when from one global forum to another global forum, there was success. And each time I will say, I stopped. And then I had companies and also cities and governments who called me and say, please do it one again. And they offer me their hospitality. They told me that it was important because there was no such a forum linking together governments as well as companies, as well as SMEs, as well as startups, as well as ONGs, as well as research people all together, and that they needed that in their country and in their city. So day after day or year after year, I accepted, and it happened 28 years.
You have been living in Paris for perhaps I don't know how many years, and which has been a cultural and intellectual melting pot. Did the life in Paris made you, truly international? Because the way you handle, I myself have seen the international crowd with such ease. Is unthinkable for a person like me. It's just year after year you have this people coming from all over the world, from US to Australia to China to almost every place. So did that Paris life sort of shape you in being such internationally comfortable in having these programs in different cities in different countries?
Paris maybe, but it's more before Paris, because I came to Paris only for after my degrees to begin university. With my parents, I traveled all over the world. And I was born in Senegal, then we went to Algeria, Morocco, Italy. My parents were in New York, and so on. So I think it's more that being, first of all, in international lycée, schools, and being always one of the two only French people where I was, that pushed me to be more international. Since I am born, I am international.
Yeah, I think so. So there's a story behind it.
Yes.
You were also a professor in a university in Paris. and received perhaps the highest civilian order of France, which is the Legion of Honor. You also authored many books. So, what subjects did you teach, and what brought you this prestigious honor in France?
Alors, first of all, I got it. This is an honor that you don't ask; they give it to you.
Yeah.
And I think that European community, as well as the French government, who decided that I was helping a lot the industry and the exchange, especially at that time when I got it. Not a long time ago, but there were not so many exchanges with Japan, with China, and I opened a lot of things for them with informal meetings as well as formal meetings. And also the services I have given in education. In my country, in education, I open a lot of curriculum. I push university to go international. At that time, people were not international. And I push my students to go abroad. I put on courses in English and so on. So I was one of the first to open university, French university, to international, really, and open curriculum who were a combination of economics, law, but also culture. With the difference of culture in the world, I opened the first course of difference of culture in the world. And so I think that all this combination, plus I created Amnesty International in France, so it's all combination.
I see. So it's a very multifarious role that you played. The Global Forum events were organized with the full support of the respective governments, even till the last one. So in various countries, about so many countries. So in 2017, it was in Winnipeg in Canada, and in 2018, Copenhagen in Denmark, and so on. So what was your selling point to these governments of late? So in the initial period, I can understand anything on to do with digital society and e-governance was something new to almost all governments. But of late, for the past 5 or 6 or 7 years, what makes this government sponsor or support the Global Forum, or continue to support the Global Forum?
Alors, I think that all those governments, they stay, even if they are in Europe or in Canada or whatever, they have a lot of companies and a lot of startup and ONG and so on, and a lot of ideas, but they have no time in general to open their mind to the rest of the world.
I see.
And they see the Global Forum as an opportunity to bring international people to their university, to their companies. And there is a lot of work before, of course, between us and me to prepare, to see what kind of companies they want to bring in, to see what kind of university people they have to match with other university where they are. And it creates a stimulation in the city where they are. And so it's pushed the people in the city, first of all, to discuss together, because most of the university people, they don't talk to companies and so on. And they push them, and they made a lot of meetings before to prepare and be ready. For them, it creates a internal stimulation in their city and in the region and in the country. For example, in Copenhagen, it was important because they were thinking about new policies, and they could meet European Commission people that, of course, they meet if they want in Brussels, but they don't meet for 2 days. And they don't meet Informally.
Informally, yes. So there are two things which I have always noticed. I mean, one is you said so. There is already some discussions and some preparatory work where different stakeholders already sit and conceive how the event should be, right? So the city is getting involved a little earlier than the event. The city administration and a few other companies and some intellectuals in the city. Is that right? That's how
Yes,
yeah.
yes, and very often, as you know,
Yeah.
cities, regions,
Yeah.
and also at the government level nationally,
Yeah.
they don't talk that much
Yes.
because they are not necessarily on the same political track.
Absolutely.
And so
Yeah.
doing this, they
Yeah.
have to be on another track.
Yeah.
And so they begin to talk together. And many things happen because for example, when we were in Ulu, where Nokia was doing the 5G.
Yeah, in Finland.
It's at that moment that Nokia and Alcatel decided to work together because they were competing on 5G and they didn't have enough market. But the government, the Finland government, didn't want to hear about Alcatel. And there was a minister who finally understood that this was what should be done.
Okay, I see. So things actually happen in the background of the global forum events. That's what you're saying. So people who otherwise do not talk to each other, they are sort of ready to talk informally. I've also noticed that there is inevitably a dinner in the city hall in almost all the cities where you meet the big guy to the all kind of people there in the city hall, and it's always a wonderful evening in the city. You feel very important in the city, being part of that dinner actually. So yeah. So now in the last event held in Angers in France in 2019, in her inaugural address, the former French Prime Minister Edith Crescent. I think she is the only female prime minister France ever had. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So the Edith Crescent almost emphatically cautioned in her inaugural address about the need to make an objective assessment of some possible negative impacts of digital technologies on life and social well-being. Now, I have attended global forum, I think about 5 global forums over the past 10 years or so. In the initial events, we were fascinately talking about new technologies. And this is the time, maybe I'm wrong, but the event at Angers in 2019 was a forum when I personally felt that people have started raising a kind of concern. And then, and very surprisingly, in the inaugural function, Edith Crescent talks about it. You need to be very careful in the years to come. So what is your take on this? I mean, how do you see? I mean, you have been driving this digital society idea for the past 28 years. And then where do we stand? Do you have similar concerns?
Yeah, it has evolved because at the beginning was only telecommunication.
Yep.
Then we have added informatics, then computers, then media, and then the convergence. So and then the satellite. So we had some global forum on satellites, and so on. But you are perfectly right. Now it's time to think about the future with people. I have tried to begin in Angers, even with the one before.
Yeah.
And it's important to show all the life and the social impact. So the next one, when it will be, who knows?
Yes.
I hope November 21 will be okay, and in Oman. I are working on that. But I think that we will have to talk a lot about social and life with in the digital society. So there are a lot of problems and a lot of things happening, but a lot of problems also.
So then let me ask this way. One of the discussion points which came up in Onche is the fact that, I mean, this in one of the workshops, so the discussion point came up, and also in the informal talks. Prime ministers and presidents all over the world are wholeheartedly consuming some ideas that have come up in the minds of people in their 20s. They're just 20s and some funny, I won't call it funny. They are not necessarily technological marvels, but they qualify to be innovative. So we value it, right? And we also fondly call them disruptive technologies, without really assessing the long-term impact on the society. Now, you are aware, and I'm also aware that, like for instance, the social media, the impact of social media on democracy and things like that. The Economist, for instance, I think in 2017, they raised this question: is social media, I think they said social media whether social media threatened democracy, something like that. So now my question is this. Do you think that the social media is really eating into the social fabric globally, within countries and globally? They decide a lot of things, and who should be the president and who should be the prime minister and so on. Do you think so?
I think that people are really addicted to social media. And not only young people, because you see more and more people, even old people, they are addicted because a lot of are alone. It creates a feeling that you are not alone, and that you have 5,000 friends.
Friends, yeah.
Big deal, big deal, big deal.
Yeah, 10,000 likes a day. Yeah, 10,000 likes a day. Yep.
Personally, I am not on social media. Yes. I have Facebook, I have everything, because you need to and to understand. But I am not on social media. I don't need social media, and it's fake, and it gives you the sentiment, the feeling that you have a power, which is not true.
Yeah.
And in plus, a lot of people, they communicate with fake friends, and they communicate with fake IDs. And the problem is that they are not educated. We have not, the technology has been very fast.
Yes.
And in the school, there was no courses on the technology to explain the danger, and to explain, of course you can use it, but use it in a way that it's normal. Don't use it in a way that you are addict.
Yes.
And it seems, I have seen, I have worked with the team on the addiction of social media. And it seems that a lot of young people are less and less addicted to drugs, but they are more and more addicts to social media.
I see. Oh, that's very interesting. Yep.
Which is as bad as drug.
Yes, absolutely. So absolutely. Now,
and so it's amazing, because the parents are very responsible also, because they say, my child doesn't take drugs. Yes, take drugs. He's addicted to social media. And You have harassment, you have pedophilia,
Yes.
at any age,
Yes.
up to 15 or 16 years old, and they don't understand that. You have revenge, a lot of revenge, and you have young people who suicide themselves. We saw that more and more couples, when they break up through social media. They don't even call themselves. They don't even talk to themselves. They break up through social media. So it's incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible. So if will the world be a lot more peaceful if all the social media is shut one day, or will it result in a lot of global depression among the populations? You know, the way you are saying, it could also result in a kind of depression for a large segment of the population. You know, because they're so addicted to it. You have these hate mongering, all those things like bullying. A lot of bullying happens through the social media now. I mean, it's not the physical bullying, much more worse than physical bullying you do through the social media. So, but governments are increasingly depending on, I would say the so-called leaders are increasingly depending on the social media, is it not? So leaderships are also shaped based on the shaped and also destroyed based on the perceptions evolved through social media action and their algorithms, right? So where do we go from here?
I think that there is a gap between the people at the government and the young population, and also the population who doesn't vote and doesn't care more and more. And this gap, they don't understand the gap. They want to be modern, and they try to show that they understand social media, but they don't. They don't. No.
Absolutely.
I don't know in your country, but in my country, they think they do, but they don't. They think that just appearing on the social media, it's enough. Or they have Twitter or whatever, and they ask to an internship to use Twitter, but the internship doesn't know what they have in their mind.
Absolutely, absolutely. You said it right. Yeah. So some interns sit and do the thinking and writing for you. That's what you meant, is it not? Huh?
Exactly. And so the political class is thinking that they are on the right track, and they are not, because they think that they are talking to people on TV, for example, but who is watching TV? Nobody is watching TV, the young people. So those people, they think that they disconnect little by little from the politics. They don't go to vote. It's better to live your little life out of political things, out of everything, and family, friends, social media, and they are too preoccupied by social media and these things to even hear what's going on in politics. So I think that it is dangerous.
So whatever we discussed about the social media, you said there is an addiction, but the model is addictive, right? Like there are algorithms which make people addictive. I don't want to name about any specific social media thing, but if you think about some latest things like the TikTok kind of stuff, you know, where people put just some visuals and millions of people are, you know, connected to it in no time, right? So there is a addictive model and algorithm in all these kind of things. And then we are also talking about big data and heavy dependence on data analytics and all these algorithms, right? Anyway, so the data analytics and algorithms are sort of driving our life, it looks like. And do you think that this is actually getting into a kind of demeaning the experiential knowledge? Human beings, like you and people like you and me, having worked, having faced situations, we have a lot of lessons learned in decision making given a set of conditions, right? So do you think that we are really is it we have reached because your global forum is all about shaping the future, right? So when you started global forum, shaping the future, you had a certain concept of probably you wanted more and more people to come into the digital world, and you wanted more people to adopt digital technologies, right? So I think we have reached that, and then we have reached a stage where now we are going to be heavily dependent on so it was people bringing people first. Now how it is impacting on the people has become the issue. So what I wanted to ask you is that what is your take on this heavy dependence which is likely to be there with artificial intelligence and machine learning and those kind of things? It will also displace a lot of people from their conventional jobs, so you don't need any conventional jobs. So what I mean, at least from a French perspective, how do you see? Because I know that in France, as far as the labor unions are concerned and labor movements are concerned, and we also saw some very big uprising, I think last year, right? 2019, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So where is the society moving in terms of these technology and their impacts?
Alors, I think, first of all, that with big data, data analytics, and so on, it could be very good because in some cases, for example, in research, let's say for COVID, maybe they will find a vaccine because they are all working together. Which I am not sure that they will find a vaccine, because for the SARS, they didn't find any, so I don't know why they will find one for this one, but we'll see. But it could be dangerous also if the algorithm are prepared in order that it could track people, or it could track, and it's programmed by people, and it's programmed by people who know what they want.
Yes.
So it's if you want a vaccine, it's something good. If you want to exchange data for the industry and create a new airplane, or it's good. But this is nothing really new. It's quicker, but it's nothing really new. But if you have not a philosophy behind what you want to find and what you want, it could be dangerous, because people can be tracking things that they don't even understand they are tracking. So I think that in one way it's good, in another way it could be dangerous. But also it depends on the culture of the country. For example, in China, they never were free. They were not free even when you had at the ancient time. They are not now, but they don't care. I have talked with a lot of Chinese people. They say, we don't care. If they track us, they track us. They have this culture that even 100 years ago, in the entrance of the village, you had a board
Yeah.
where it was written who was good, who was not good, who
I
was
see.
following the rules, who was
I
not following the rules.
I
I
see.
have talked with Chinese friends, and they told me this is nothing new for us. It was always that way.
Yeah.
Now it's more bigger,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
because it's more huge, because they can track. So for some people it's important, but for most of them they don't care, and they don't even understand why the Occident is talking about that, because they think that this is normal. In Europe, where democracy is more important and has another sense, people are at the contrary. For example, we have done an application for the COVID to say someone has the COVID at home and so on, so we had to do cluster and so on, and nobody used it because they think that it's against their freedom. Which is ridiculous, because there is no freedom there. Well, this is important because freedom has another sense. And in France, since the revolution, freedom means everything. So you cannot do anything because people, it's my freedom. I don't want to be tracked. Yes, but if you have the COVID, it's important to say to other people and try to stop it. But this I don't understand. They don't understand. In Finland, for example, which is different, people are used to say everything. It's a small country. They all know each other, more or less. And so they don't care. Freedom has a nonsense for them. They are free. So it all depends of the culture. I don't know in India, I don't know in Oman how it is, but I think that it depends also of the social level of people. It depends what is the main goal for them.
I think I need to interfere in this point. Now, you said two valid things. One is it depends on the country and their existing social values and social systems and the definition of freedom and things like that. Like, for instance, during the COVID, when people were asked to wear masks, for instance, in the US, and they were talking about, we want freedom to breathe, right? So, it looks actually very, very ridiculous that you have a pandemic and the government is not able to formulate a strategy to, in the larger interest. Anyway, so it also depends on the existing culture, existing value systems, and all those things, and the definitions of freedom and privacy and all those things. So in India, privacy hardly exists, for instance. So that may be okay for the Indian population, but that may not be the situation in Europe, for instance. Everything need to be private and all those things. But at the same time, when governments have this enormous highly pervasive technology like the big data and these all kind of analytics and artificial intelligence and machine learning and all those things, especially the big data and data analytics, I think, and one point which I take from what you said, is that the real intention behind its use is most important. Is it for developing a vaccine in 6 months, or is it for gathering all kind of cyber inclinations of your people, or your internet habits and your any kind of habit and your movements and things like that, for use in any for any wrong purposes, for political purposes or whatever. So you said two things. One is it depends on the culture. I agree. So from nation to nation, you have to decide, or you already know what works here and what doesn't work. But at a government level, if the intention is sort of noble and genuine, then I think it's okay to have this data analytics, right? Big data and data analytics.
Yes, absolutely.
And having been to Finland, and I've spent some time in the University of Tampere in Finland, and I've gone through the streets and I've also interacted with people, faculty and students. Finland, they trust each other, right? They trust their government, right? They have no doubts that this data will be used for anything bad. So it's also a question of trust between the between the population and who collects the data. For instance, something like that. So there is a necessity to build in this trust. So I have a feeling, and this is the point which I want to put across to you as the president of the Global Forum. I think Global Forum in the years to come, I mean, this is a question and also a suggestion, that we need to pick up these points of how do you responsibly handle big data or data analytics or artificial intelligence, these kind of things. And now I think Global Forum could actually talk about these things. You need to correct course, because given if it's a technology driven society, I mean, it's just driven by some kind of fancy technologies coming one after the other. What is your plan for the Global Forum in the coming years? Do you think that you need to talk more about the societal implications of these things than far less about technology, perhaps? Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a must.
Yeah.
And I have tried the last one to begin, but people are not, I want to include more people in philosophy, in sociology,
Absolutely.
and ask and maybe do panels between technological people and philosophy people.
Absolutely.
And, match them together to see behind, because the problem with the technology is that the people who are technology oriented in general, they are completely technology and they don't want to see the problems, or they don't even see the problems because they are too much fanatic of what they are developing. But the philosopher, they have a distance, and the sociology people, they have a distance. So I think that for the next Global Forum, I will put in each panel a philosopher or sociologue in order to, including for security issue. Including for security issue. Security is not just a problem of technology people and who want security, and because what does mean security? Up to what point you want security, and so on. So I think that absolutely, for the next Global Forum, we have to find good people who think about the society and who think about the good and the danger. They are not only dangers, but they are also good things, and that can develop this with the people who are talking about technology.
Do you think that actually all these technologies, digitalization, let me talk about digitalization, digitalization in various spheres, it has improved the quality of life at a global level? Do you think so? It has really improved the quality of life? I'm not talking about digitalization improving the quality of life in Netherlands, for instance. We know that in the Netherlands, it is substantially improved. But the digital technology have reached across the world, the effect of globalization, and also So, but has it improved the quality of life of the people?
Yes, I think that technology is all over the globe, that's sure.
Yeah.
But I think that the cultural aspect of it is very important, that it's not used the same in different parts of the world.
Right.
And alors, it depends.
Yeah.
If you talk about industry, they are all talking the same thing. So for industry, it's okay.
It's okay.
They use it and it's good.
Yeah.
But in the same time, they should be not lying,
Yeah.
and they should explain that there will be less jobs. For
Yes.
example, they always say no, the jobs will be the same, which is not true.
It's not true.
But they should work with education, because if you work with education,
Mhm.
and if you work with people who are, because there's a gap also, and as a professor of university, I can tell you that I was one of the first to include the cultural affairs,
Mhm.
but I include also technology
Yeah.
in all my courses.
Yeah.
And I included them in economics, but I included them in marketing and so on.
Yeah.
And I try to explain that there will be less job,
Yeah.
but you have to create your job now.
Mhm.
And in order to create your job, you have to be smarter,
Yeah.
and you have to think. So, but education has not changed that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if you continue, for lawyers, it's okay. Lawyers, they will always need more and more, that's okay.
Yeah.
But for other type of, for example, the people working in industry,
Yeah.
there should be other jobs.
Yes.
And those other jobs, nobody is looking at it.
Yeah. Nobody's.
Nobody is explaining to the young people that they have to be very versatile. I think that in education, we have to change the education, showing that you have not to be afraid, you have to adapt yourself, you have to think about new way to live and to think and so on.
Yeah.
And but this is not the case right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So
If we have a new technology, we have a new type of mind, and we have to think differently. And I feel bad about all those people who are behind because they have no education.
No,
Educated people will always be.
that's a point.
Will
So I
always
think
be okay.
you said it right. I think in the information era, when you have all these technologies and the information is money in a way, or information is the key. I think across the board, you need a minimum level of education to make the best use of it, right? So
Exactly.
including the
Exactly.
politicians, including the trade union people, they should have a minimum understanding and educational background to live in this era. And do you think that the digitalization has actually improved peace and security across the world?
Security across the world?
Peace and security? Yes, no?
I don't think so.
I also don't
don't
think so. So it has
I
not
don't
really
think
helped.
so.
This is very surprising. Yeah, you had all these tools, but it has not increased anything. Even the democratic processes also. Do you think that the digitalization has improved? No, it has not played any significant role. In fact, what do you think? Democratic.
I think that democracy is in danger. But I am not sure that it is in danger for a long time.
No.
What I think that everyone is trying now the extreme right, extreme left, in order, which is exactly the same, in order to. Racism is coming back because people are afraid. So when people are afraid, they think that they are the best and the rest of the world is in danger. They are so stupid. In Europe, we have all those people coming from Middle East and also, and they're very clever people, some of them, engineers, doctors, and so on. Some no, but some. And people say it's their fault if things are not going well. People, stupid people, but you have more stupid people than you have clever people now, because people they don't they think that to protect themselves they have to push out the rest of the world.
This is
and this is dangerous. This is dangerous.
There is no inclusiveness. You want to exclude a few people so that your life is prosperous and fantastic. You have, I think you as the president of the Global Forum also agree that in the years to come, and probably the next Global Forum, you said it's 2021, right? Not anyway in 2020, it will be in 2020.
Voila. If everything is going well, we'll be in 2021.
Hopefully. Now I think we should have some hope. I think so. So you will continue to put your efforts in shaping the future of digital society. And I'm glad to be talking to you.
Good.
We wish all the best for the next Global Forum in a new city with perhaps a new and stronger message. Thank you very much, Sylviane. It's always a pleasure talking to you.